After 6 long years of development and almost 2 years after originally being announced, Riot Games' animated show Arcane has finally hit Netflix, and it's incredible. I want to take some time to talk about this show as a standalone for the people who aren't invested in League of Legends and have this video sort of act as a primer. Maybe I can even persuade a few of you into trying the show out. Some more detailed videos about the stories and characters of Arcane are down the road, but let's keep this one as a short, almost spoiler-free intro to the show. Well then, why is Arcane so good? Like I just said, I'm going to keep this video as spoiler-free as possible, but it's hard to talk about the show without talking about the way it tells its story, which is one of the most engaging parts about it. Arcane, at its core, is a show about a city, one half wealthy and on the cutting edge of technology, representing order, and one half cast aside into filth and muck, relying on crime and honor amongst thieves to survive, representing chaos. The story of Arcane is mostly centric on the city itself rather than any one character, or even group of characters. A lot of the promotional material uses Jinx as the poster girl, but there's a whole lot more going on here than just a single character story. As for the characters, however, they're written in a really interesting manner, considering these are characters from a video game who originally had a pretty flat, one-dimensional personality, single paragraph lore descriptions, and basically just served as vessels for abilities in-game more than actual characters. The complexity displayed in the show itself is a marvel. It's part of the reason why I don't think you need to be a League player to appreciate the show, because Jinx in-game and Jinx in the show are so radically different that the only real comparison is their aesthetic. Consider this almost an alternate reality to the original game's canon. None of the characters in the show are wholly good or wholly evil, which makes following alongside them really fun. Piltover has no heroes, it has no villains, it just has people who are doing what they feel they have to do, and stories written like that are usually the ones that hold my attention the best. Since there's no real focus on characters and we instead have an ensemble cast of almost 10 main characters to pay attention to, added to the fact that the show's central theme is about the politics of the city more than anything else, we get a lot of interwoven plots with each character going about their own thing until they overlap with one another, almost in a Game of Thrones kind of way. It's good. I can't say too much more or I'll go into spoiler territory, but it's just really good. Riot really knows how to build a world and introduce their viewers to concepts without having to exposition them to death. Want to know something cool? Heimerdinger is one of the main characters, and not a single time over the entire show is the word Yordle said, not even once. Everything from the politics of the city, the magic systems, the applications of hex tech is given to the viewer in an easily understood and digestible manner, which helps flesh out the city and its progression in tandem with the story's development. Zaun, or the Lanes in particular, is one of the most well-established fantasy locations I've seen on television in a long time. This is probably the absolute closest I'll come to spoiler territory, so feel free to skip to the next section if you want absolutely none. When Vi's squad takes the elevator down to the lanes, we're given a near music video quality look at the living conditions of the neighborhood set to Playground by B. Miller, with all sorts of underbelly criminal type shit going on. We got weapon sales, shady characters that look like they're here from Ionia, a Yordle prostitute, which is really weird. All of that just sells this area as being a cesspool of degeneracy, which helps establish why the characters feel the way they do in later episodes. Right after this scene, we're given a more important establishing scene, which ties directly into this. Kiss your perfect day, goodbye. Like I said in the story section, no character is really the main character, and we're given a lot of screen time split between each of them. This doesn't mean that the characters aren't well fleshed out though. With each character, aside from one that I'll save for another day, we're shown their entire journey and can understand exactly why they do what they do and are the way they are. There's even a time skip midway through the series, and again, aside from the one single guy, everyone else's journey pretty much stays on course with what you'd expect. There's no curveballs, and every character feels distinctly like their own person, alive and with depth outside of trope-based personalities, which is a characteristic shared by another animated show that I like a lot. This is a pretty short section, but I'm pretty sure I have an idea for a video that'll dive really deep into the characters of the show. So if you're liking this video and want to see something like that, subscribe to the channel and leave a like to let me know. I don't think it's possible for Riot to make an unpolished product. Even if their games can have some shaky balancing issues, there's no denying their quality in every other regard, as well as the mind-blowing quality of the stuff they make outside of the games, like the Awaken music video for example. Everyone knew as soon as this show was announced that it was going to be absolutely stunning to look at and have magnificent music, but they went above and beyond the expectations. It might have had something to do with the $150 million they threw at it. The animation seems to be a mixture of extremely high quality 3D models model renders, but there's also clearly some hand-drawn animation thrown on top of it, which sounds like it would be super jarring, but it flows so naturally that you only notice if you're looking for it specifically. Similar to how Spider-Verse was able to replicate the feeling of reading a comic book, this animation style replicates a video game, which is, fitting for the fact that this is a show based on one. Whenever we get a full fight scene, the way it's shown is easy to follow, realistic, and still manages to be some of the cleanest animation I've ever seen. But the animation is the tip of the iceberg here, really. The voice cast is all absolute A-listers. I don't mean to disrespect any of the video game cast here, but they're from a time when Riot was a lot smaller of a company, and they were hiring non-union voice actors to read like 15 or 30 lines for a one-time payment. Lower quality, lower effort, and I was worried they'd reuse those voice actors, but nah, not at all. They hired the best they could get, and the performances we got as a result were absolutely stellar. We even got Yuri Lowenthal, man, playing this ugly eyebrow kid. Lastly, I want to talk about the music. A lot of the background music is pretty above average, but it doesn't really pop in any special way. But when the show really comes through is the aforementioned music video-like segments. Throughout the show, we're given a lot of full tracks from noteworthy artists in the music industry that probably also cost Riot a fortune to get on here. Like I said, we have Playground by B. Miller, but we also have Enemy by Imagine Dragons, and that's just a few of them. Might be unrelated, but when a show gives me a bunch of actual fucking bangers to throw in a playlist, it's a massive plus for me. Generally speaking, movies and TV shows based on video games are really bad. Riot somehow broke the curse. I'm not sure how they did it, but they probably made the best animated TV show that I've ever seen, and that is a very high achievement considering most of what I do is watch animated TV shows. It's outstanding, and I think anyone who has the time should at least give it a try. Episode 4 may drag a bit, but aside from that, it's crazy non-stop. This video was meant to act as an intro to the show and what I liked about it without going too deep into the specifics. But I don't think I'm going to be able to shut up about Arcane for a long time, so I'm going to continue to talk about it in video form until I get bored. If you watched this far, it would really mean a lot to me if you could subscribe to the channel, and in return, I'll give you more videos about this TV show about a video game. Sounds like a fair trade to me. I hope to see you there.